thinking about my holiday. I know where I wanna stay. I'm just looking for a good time to enjoy some best food and wine. I'm a wine traveler.
I love to travel, and one of the reasons I love to travel is to experience some of the best food and wine in the world. Traveling in the wine country is one of the ultimate pleasures, and there's so much to experience. Come along with me and we'll experience some of the world's great wine regions, and even visit a few places you never even thought of regarding food and wine. We'll experience the food, the wine, the culture, and all the activities that come along with wine country. Well, it was another fantastic night of food and wine. I was preparing for guests to come over and cooking a great meal. I was handling the food, my friends were bringing the wine, and lo and behold, they brought over a bottle of Lebanese wine. Chateau Musar. The food was great, but it was the wine that really excelled. It was a deep and delicious red, and I just had to find out more about the wines of Lebanon. I became really curious and had to check it out on the World Wide Web. Wow, Lebanon has a rich wine history that started 6,000 years ago with the Phoenicians. Phoenicia was an ancient civilization that was located on the eastern shores of the Mediterranean in present-day Lebanon and Syria. The Phoenicians were a seafaring nation with a reputation as shrewd businessmen and the dominant traders in the region. Among their achievements was the fact that they created the first written alphabet. The Phoenicians were also the first civilization to produce wine over 6,000 years ago. The Phoenicians then began to export the wine to the region. The Phoenicians developed a way of bottling the wine. They added a layer of olive oil and then sealed the container with pine tar, and this allowed for the easy export of their wines from ports like this in Byblos. The wine industry of Phoenicia flourished, and soon the wines were famous throughout the region. The Bible also has many stories about wine and the magical grapes grown in what is now Lebanon. Although disputed, there are many that believe Jesus Christ performed his first miracle in southern Lebanon at Cana. Jesus was attending a wedding at Cana, and he noticed that the party had run out of wine. He simply turned all the water into wine, and the wedding was a complete success. Also, there is the tale of the grapes from the lands of Canaan. It was here that the Hebrews found a cluster of grapes so large that 2 men had to carry it back. This is a true testament to the area's agricultural riches. The Romans also left their historical imprint on the history of wine in Lebanon. The Roman ruins at Baalbek are one of the best preserved Roman ruins on earth. They are also one of Lebanon's most popular tourist attractions. The best preserved of the ancient temples at Baalbek is the temple built in honor of Bacchus, the Roman god of wine. During Ottoman times, the wine industry went into serious decline in Lebanon. However, today the country has a thriving and growing wine industry. There are about 15 commercial wineries in operation in Lebanon today. Collectively, they produce about 6 million bottles annually, at a value of about 25 million US dollars. The main focus of wine production in Lebanon involves Bordeaux and Rhone varietals, but there is also production of local grape varieties like Meurway and Obade, an ancestor of the Chardonnay grape. Wine tourism is also growing in Lebanon. The wineries feature great tours, free tastings, and luxurious settings. Well, I will say I'm totally blown away by the amount of wine history in Lebanon. I'm looking for a ticket and I'm out of here. Lebanon is bordered on the west by the Mediterranean Sea. It is engulfed by Syria on the north and east, and Israel and the occupied Palestinian territories and Golan Heights lie to the south. Arabic and French are the official languages, and English is widely spoken. Most people will enter Lebanon through Beirut's Rafik Hariri International Airport. Flights to Lebanon are easily accessible from North America, Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. Okay, we got to get some money. The official currency of Lebanon is the Lebanese lira or pound, but the US dollar works just as well, and the ATMs spit them out all over Beirut. Beautiful Beirut is the capital of Lebanon. With a population of about 1.5 million, it is also the country's largest city, as well as the heart and soul of the country. It is the most liberal and cosmopolitan setting in the Arab world, and it boasts the region's best cuisine and the most exciting nightlife. So fantastic that in the World Best Awards in 2006, hosted by Travel and Leisure magazine, Beirut was ranked 9th as the best city in the world, falling just short of New York City and coming ahead of San Francisco. Beirut has a great cafe scene, great restaurants, some that will be very familiar to you as well. Beirut is also an important intellectual center and the capital for the arts in all of Lebanon. Beirut is remembered as having one of the first 3 schools of law that were created in the world. Today, this emphasis on academic excellence continues as the universities of Beirut mold the Middle East's highest skilled workforce. Beirut also gives you the opportunity to check out the vibrant art and music scene in Lebanon. We will be enjoying Beirut and its fabulous sights, but now it's time to head to the Bekaa Valley in the wine country of Lebanon. We're headed to the commercial center of the Bekaa Valley, Zahle. The Bekaa Valley is a great agricultural resource with great soil, favorable climate, and plentiful water. The Bekaa Valley is a predominantly Muslim area. There is a peaceful coexistence with the wine industry as 2 of the country's major wineries are partially owned by a Druze and one by a Sunni Muslim. Zahle can be a great base to explore the Bekaa Valley's wineries and the ruins at Baalbek and Anjar. Our first stop will be Chateau Ksara. Ksara lies in the heart of the Bekaa Valley, just about 2 kilometers south of Zahle. This is where modern winemaking came to being in Lebanon. The property was acquired by the Jesuit fathers in 1857. The area was known for grape growing, but the Jesuits began to produce wine and introduced noble grape varietals like Sensal. These grapes were introduced in 1857, bought from Algeria, and planted on the estate. We're in Lebanon's beautiful Bekaa Valley, enjoying some of Lebanon's finest wines. I am on the estate of Chateau Musar right now, the oldest winery in Lebanon, celebrating its 150th year of operation. Let's check out some of the great wines of Lebanon. Come on along. Ksara is a beautiful place to visit. Chateau Musar is Lebanon's 2nd largest producer of wine. Ksara puts all its emphasis on noble grape varieties, though it does use local varieties for the production of Iraq. The winery has invested in and continues to invest in new equipment. Chateau Musar is the oldest and still one of the most innovative wineries in all of Lebanon. The winery may be best known for its 2-kilometer long labyrinth of tunnels, great cellars, and great places to store the wine. We had a great time checking out the cellars, the vineyards, and taking the tour, but it was time to check out the wines of Chateau Musar.
The tour and taste a very good and nice wine. Thank you.
Every day from 9 to 4, you can taste your favorite Ksara wines. A free tour of the winery is also included. Ksara had some great wines to taste. I especially loved the Reserve de Covenant. This was an intense red, a blend of Carignan, Syrah, and Cabernet Sauvignon. I also really enjoyed the rosés from Ksara. The Rosé de Ksara and the Gris de Gris, fantastic dry rosés. Very popular in the United States right now, and we hope to see some of these soon. We had a great time on the tour and then the tasting at Ksara. Now it's time to head down to the retail outlet and check out a little bit of the wine they have to offer for sale at Ksara. Great selection. Well, we were very thankful for tasting the very nice and fine wines at Ksara, and now we were off for a second stop, Massaya Vineyards. This is no doubt the hippest winery in all of Lebanon.
Hey y'all, it's a wine trip. I'm in Lebanon's beautiful Bekaa Valley. We're here at one of the hot up-and-coming wineries in the region. It's Massaya right behind me. Let's go check out the winery.
Check it out, stainless steel and big oak tanks. This is a smaller estate with a boutique feel, much like the trendiest small producers in the Napa Valley. Great place. The winery was founded by brothers Sammy and Ramzi Gosen in 1998. The two returned with memories of the family-owned estate in Tanal and the homemade arak the family produced. The brothers started producing some of Lebanon's finest arak, well known in the blue bottle. Soon, they started focusing their attention on making elegant wines. I was lucky enough to sit with winemaker-owner Ramzi Gosen and enjoy some of the great wines from Massaya. I really enjoyed the Massaya selection, a blend of Grenache, Cinsault, Shiraz, and Cabernet. Just delicious. I will say that I thoroughly enjoyed the wines at Massaya, but I was more impressed with the attitude of winemaker Ramzi Gosen. This is a new breed of winemaker in Lebanon. This is someone that's intent on making an impact on the world market. I can't wait to taste the wines that he produces in the future. Excellent, excellent, excellent. We need to talk about arak. It is the national drink of Lebanon, an anise-flavored liquor much like sambuca or ouzo. And at Massaya, they do it right. Massaya only employs traditional methods in the production of arak, and this is quite interesting to witness. Throughout the year, Massaya Winery offers great activities for food and wine enthusiasts. The winery offers extensive tasting hours, and it wants to be remembered as being very child-friendly. That was a great time at Massaya. Now we're going to head down south to the West Bekaa to Chateau Kefraya. I am really enjoying the beauty of the Bekaa Valley. Chateau Kefraya is Lebanon's largest producer of wine, and it may be the most beautifully landscaped.
We're in Chateau Musar-the and we're welcoming you to visit to Lebanon.
The winery is located in the town of Kefraya, about 20 kilometers south of Chateau-the. The winery opened in 1979 during the Civil War and has become a domestic favorite of Lebanese wine drinkers. Chateau Kefraya bottles about 2.5 billion bottles of wine per year, making it Lebanon's top producer of wine. The visitor facilities at Chateau Kefraya are warm and inviting. This is a great place to experience the hospitality of Lebanon as well as the wines of the Bekaa Valley. Kefraya is a very modern facility. They have invested heavily to make this one of the most beautiful wineries in all of Lebanon and one of the most technologically advanced as well. Oh, I had a fantastic time tasting wines at Kefraya. I was lucky enough to taste Le Blanc de Blanc de Chateau Kefraya, a Viognier Sauvignon Blanc Chardonnay blend. Oh, fantastic. Pineapple, peach, grapefruit with floral notes. I sped my way through a fantastic tasting and really loved the dry rosé they produced, but I had to slow it down to enjoy the Comte d'Am. This is Kefraya's high-end red, a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon and Syrah. Rich purple color, black fruit, tobacco, mineral note, very elegant. One of Lebanon's greatest wines, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. I had such a great time at Kefraya, but now I was looking forward to visiting Lebanon's top winery, Chateau Musar. Chateau Musar was founded by Gaston Hochar in 1930. By the late 40s, the winery was blowing the minds of the French wine elite. The grapes are grown in the beautiful West Bekaa Valley in the shadow of the Mount Lebanon mountain range.
We're here in Lebanon's beautiful Bekaa Valley. We're here at the vineyards of Chateau Musar, one of Lebanon's most fantastic wines. Behind me lie the exquisite vineyards that produce some of the best grapes and best wine in all of Lebanon. Let's check it out.
Now, Chateau Musar has vineyards in the Bekaa Valley. The winery is located north of Beirut in a 17th century castle in Ksara-the. This distance between the winery and the vineyards has led to many difficulties in the wine production in the past few decades. Lebanon experienced a horrible civil war from the years 1975 until 1990. Getting the grapes from the Bekaa Valley to Beirut became an almost impossible task, involving payoffs to militia groups and risking life and limb. The war saw fighting in the streets of Beirut, snipers, a downtown destroyed, foreign occupation, and aerial bombardment. The actions of Chateau Musar have become legendary over the years. Only 1976 and 1984 were years where there were no wines produced at Chateau Musar. During 1983, as fighting raged in Beirut, Chateau Musar snuck into the country by boat to produce his vintage of wine. The style of Chateau Musar's wines had already been famous worldwide, but this incredible attitude and enthusiasm for wine had made the wine more popular than ever. The wines of Chateau Musar had been famous worldwide. It's a fabulous wine, a red that's a combination of Cabernet Sauvignon, Cinsault, and Carignan. This wine had been famous for years, something that was a throwback to the old Bordeaux. Chateau Musar has now passed on his winemaking expertise and skills to his son Gaston. Gaston Musar is now producing remarkable wines in the tradition of his father and grandfather, and like his father, he successfully dealt with the problematic wartime harvest of 2006. I was lucky enough to experience both the vineyards and the beautiful castle in Ksara-the. The castle is very impressive, and I was more impressed learning more about Lebanon's wines with Gaston Musar. I had a fantastic time. I tasted great wines, including a fabulous 1991 Chateau Musar. This is truly one of the great red wines in the world. I am also a huge fan of the Chateau Musar white wine. This is a blend of Lebanon's indigenous Obede and Merwa grapes. It's just a great wine, very complex and pleasing. And here's a word from one of Lebanon's greatest winemakers, and someone that controls one of the largest collection of bottled wine that I've ever seen.
We have, in the last 75 years, been producing wine as a family production at Chateau Musar. Today we are exporting 80% of this production worldwide. We have been producing the wines in the last 50 years in a natural way, without any additives. We are very happy to receive anyone who comes to Lebanon for a tour in our winery in Ksara, where we can explain the way in which we produce our wines. Thank you.
Wow, what a fantastic time I had at Chateau Musar and the other wineries in Lebanon. A lot of people have asked me if Lebanon is a safe place to visit. Lebanon is totally safe. Beirut and the Bekaa Valley are very friendly. I will say there is a problem with unexploded ordnance south of the Litani River. This includes areas near historical Tyre. Enough of that, I'm hungry. It's time to explore some of Lebanon's great food. You may want to grab a beer in Lebanon, and Allan Moller makes a great German-style Pilsner. Allan Moller also produces a Dunkel-style German beer. It's about 6% alcohol, which is a lot stronger than the traditional Almaza, but it's very good. Lebanon has a tremendous culinary reputation, and there is no doubt that food will be one of the main highlights of your trip to Lebanon. Lebanese cuisine is among the best in the Middle East, and for that matter, the world. Traditional food like shawarma, falafel, spinach turnovers, and Lebanese pizza are everywhere, inexpensive, and absolutely delicious. The farmers of Lebanon produce great produce, and it's abundant. Get out there and try to enjoy some of the best food that Lebanon has to offer. Beirut also has a tremendous amount to offer in terms of international cuisine, including Italian food, Asian fusion, and Chinese. I've stuck mainly to Lebanese cuisine. Among my favorites was Kebabji. It's a modern, casual Lebanese restaurant offering some of the best Lebanese food. It was here that I got to sample some of Lebanon's great food offerings. Lebanon offers great grilled meats and wonderful vegetarian fare as well. I found the food in Lebanon to be both incredibly flavorful and quite healthy. Great delicious meals. Lebanon has a great deal to offer the traveler. The food and wine of Lebanon were incredible treats, but we learned so much more. It's a beautiful place to visit. And I hope to explore it again soon.
Hey y'all, we've had a great time in Lebanon, checking out the fantastic wines from the Bekaa Valley, wonderful food, the amazing hospitality of the Lebanese people, and beautiful Beirut. This is Allan Moller, and I will see you next time on The Wine Trip.